3, 2, 1, and we are live. Take 2. A little dry run there.
Yeah.
This is the Conversations with Friends podcast. I'm your host, Nick Werle. Arpan Patel. Welcome. Thanks for coming on, dude.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
Right on, dude. Episode 6.
So, okay.
Getting it going. We were just talking before that we started just about work and work styles, and I was asking you about how you have, 3 jobs and you're able to stack those on top of each other throughout the day.
Yeah.
We were talking about ways that you focus your time.
Yeah.
We were just getting into the subconscious, right? You're talking about stepping away from something and letting your mind work, but kind of go on with that thought.
Yeah, I mean, so I'm particularly bad at staring at a problem and solving it that way.
Mm-hmm.
I'm particularly good at not thinking about it, and it comes to me. That's probably most people, but I'm particularly bad at it, right? When I was learning how to play volleyball, for instance, I wouldn't stare so much. I would just I would just stare at this scenario a ton of times and just let my subconscious then figure out what it needs to figure out so I can see it better. Do you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I used to coach a little bit, and so I had the girls their eyes had to move quicker, right? And so I would have them stare outside the bus. The little white marks on the They have to stare at each one as it goes by, just to kind of work their eyes a little bit.
Okay.
I have no idea if it helped or not, but they thought it did.
Really?
And they weren't it helped.
There's a lot of science, I think, with the subconscious and what we're learning about the mind and how important it is in just how we process and receive the information about the world, right? For whatever reason, those white lines, you had a reason to teach those girls to do that, right?
And I couldn't tell you if it, I couldn't tell you directly if that worked or not, but their defense was, and there's also the coaching elements and the things, you know what I'm saying? But I always do little things to try and get my mind to work a little differently,
Will you take that? Let's say you work at the IT company in the morning.
Yeah.
Then you do your real estate stuff in the afternoon, the evening time, and then you'll do any kind of GC or planning your next day at night. You said.
Yeah. So I'll start at 7 in the morning. So the dog wakes up at 6:30, 6. And I'm also so Gabs will go to work. She's a teacher, right? So she'll drop the dog off. So I have the 2 of them, and as soon as she comes to the door, they gotta go, right?
Yeah.
So right. So that's my alarm clock.
I know, dude. Dogs they're part of your family.
Yeah. So I'll take the dogs. She's just be there early, teacher, right? So I'll take them out, and then I'll come back, and then I just start the day, right? So I'll do IT work early, right? And some 7. If I have a hard packed 8 hours and it's 3, usually I don't. It's just the nature of the job, right? So I'll sometimes work out at noon or whatever, right? Because I try and go to the gym as well during the day.
Yeah.
And if I don't, just go in the evening. But still, And so then if it's a hard packed 8 hours, 3, always at 3 I start realtor work and general contracting work. So a lot of it's paperwork or following up on this call or sending notes out or stuff like that.
Yeah, I love what you said about writing your thank you note.
Yeah, just a little,
Are they short or how
super short
sentences?
Thanks for setting up the grass court the other day.
Yeah. Just something a token of appreciation. I think people really.
I don't always
really
put $5 with it, but
I
just send a little.
But something that shows you thinking about them and you're going above and beyond, right? It's more the thought that counts, as they say. So we talk about motivation in this podcast. We talk about personal work styles. I was asking Arpan earlier when we were pre-recording about just managing that time. So, kind of last thing on the work. When you are starting your workday for your SaaS company that you work in IT for, do they care at all when you're able to switch back and forth, or when you get your work done? How does your boss at that company?
My boss is, first of all, fantastic.
Yeah,
I've had 2 good bosses. I've been fired from basically every job I've ever had.
Really?
Except this company. This is my second time at this company. So the first time I had a different. Right, she was married to one of the owners.
Interesting.
And they got bought out.
Okay.
Right, by Public Check. But back when it was still a small business, she was she had equity obviously, right? But she was wonderful. She had a photographic memory.
No way.
She could do anything, right? And she was she's a doer, not a delegator. She never felt oh, you're just telling me to do it. You don't want to do it. Do you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
She could jump right in there with you.
Okay.
Right,
this is the first stint, right?
First time.
Okay.
Right? Then I left because I was doing real estate full time. Right. I was flipping houses. That's what I was doing. Right.
That's badass. Yeah. Flipping houses, buying low, selling high, doing a little work inside to be able to push the price
fair
up.
amount of work, 100, $100,000.
And you would general contract that out, or would you do some of that?
We would have guys, right? So we were still basically GCs. Like my partner did it at the time, didn't do very well, but like he did it at the time, and so like he ran the guys, and I did everything else, right?
Yeah.
So I did I found the house to acquire, I'd close them, I'd raise the money for it.
Yeah. How would you find the houses?
It's pretty easy.
Like MLS or like Zillow? Or...
No, I bought them all off the MLS.
Amazing.
Yeah. It's pretty simple. I always tell people, like, I can teach you how to invest in real estate in 2 days, all of it, except for the contracting part of it.
Okay.
Like, that takes a long time to teach you.
But you mean contracting, hiring people to do physical labor is hard.
But you have to know what they're supposed to do and how long it's supposed to take and how much it's supposed to cost. So when they tell you a bunch of stuff, you don't go.
You have to know enough to be dangerous, where they're not going to kind of like scheme you out of.
Yeah. Like if a guy tells you, like, this room takes 20 sheets of drywall, you can go fuck it.
Yeah, no way.
You know what I'm saying? Like, you're lying to me straight up, right?
Do you have a crew that you count on to do a lot of the work, or do you have multiple different electricians and plumbers and painters?
So I have a couple of carpenters, like 3-4 guys we can call on, right? That work for us, right? And then like I have a slew of subcontractors. So like a tile guy, or like 2, 3 of those, right? Like 2, 3 countertop guys, like 2, 3 electricians, plumbers, whatever, right? And I've known these guys for like, I don't know, like 5 years now, 5 years, something like that. So like, I don't generally lose people, That's
really good to keep the same people. And we were talking earlier about trust, say again what the IT company does.
So essentially, like, they credential practitioners to make sure they are who they say they are. So essentially, like, if you see Catch Me If You Can, right? Yeah. Like, where Leo impersonates a doctor, right? Where he, what was it? Concur. He's like, I concur.
Oh yeah,
concur, right?
I concur. He's like literally.
I should have concurred.
He's literally in surgery. Yeah. I concur. Like, this is yours. You need to do the surgery. He goes and pukes.
Yeah. Yeah. So like, he obviously wasn't the doctor.
Yeah.
And so the SaaS company like makes a software that checks like online, right? Checks your boards, checks this and that, like for verification that you are who you said you are.
Yeah.
And so these do, like, people do it in the old days with paper, right? But like, nowadays everyone has their own solution. So I'm on the onboarding side. So what I specifically do is when they have their own, a competitor's product or their own, like some people do it on spreadsheets, right? Like straight up spreadsheets, right? They so I got to take that data out, twist it around, and put it in our system.
Yeah.
Right. And they usually take the time then to like change rules or change processes or whatever.
Interesting.
So that all gets incorporated here. That's what I do, and I just shove it in our system. And then they can use our stuff.
Is it just for the medical field, or like which area needs credentials or like that kind of service?
That kind of service you probably need a bunch of places, but like this is the market that our software satisfies.
Got it.
Right. Like I would imagine a pharmacist would need to be credentialed, right? But our system doesn't do that.
Yeah.
Like we don't have Walgreens, for instance, right? We have Northwestern.
That's cool. So you said that you had a first stint there that went well, or that you left and came back once you kind of wanted to push real estate.
Oh yeah, I loved it. Like so I worked from them. I don't even know, like for 3 years. I forget the years. I think it ended in 2016. Maybe 2015. I forget exactly what it was. Right? I don't even know. The years are going by so fast. But I'm getting old, son. Like, so yeah, because I've been fired from every job I've ever had.
You've been fired from every job you've ever had.
Ever, yeah.
I've been fired from probably 3 places, and it definitely thickens your skin.
I'm just a very disagreeable person,
I mean, it's good to have opinions, and it's good to
sometimes.
I think what it is it's good to tell the truth.
Yeah.
And if there's a misalignment with you and your management, or you and the company values, or even to someone on your team, it's like you get to the point sometimes where you can't make that better. And it might be better for both sides to part ways. So whether you're fired or you quit or you resign or whatever that looks like, I think things happen for a reason,
Well, I do really well with managers that give you slack, but can do it. Like they can get down the trenches with you.
I mean, real recognize real, right? Like
exactly.
You have to respect that they have done it, or like they can teach you something.
Yeah, like So like I don't want people to ask me to do things that they can't do. Just like I don't like. Obviously, that's why I need help. Do you understand it? But like, because that's not my expertise or whatever, right? But like, I'm willing to go through the mud with you. Do you understand? Like, I'm not going. This is your problem. We'll take care of it. Do you understand? Like, I don't like people like that. I don't work that way. That's not how it
Yeah, I had a really bad manager my first job out of school.
Yeah.
And, I joined the company to work for this certain individual. Right when I got there, he left to start another branch in Austin, Texas, right? Okay. So, like, the person I kind of chose to want to work under, he wasn't that mentor anymore because he wasn't there.
Yeah.
So I got put under this other person who was a really great salesperson.
Okay.
But she didn't necessarily have the teaching skill.
Yeah.
I noticed looking back at it that she was kind of verbally abusive. But
Ooh.
I mean, it was bad. Like, but me being 22, I was like, "Is this okay? Is this
how the world works?"
Yeah,
yeah.
She also would usurp power. Like, if I did something that was good, she would claim it for her own. Like,
I've been hearing this a lot lately.
Yeah. I think it has to do with salespeople, and I'm super interested in this topic of an individual contributor, which is what I am. I have a quota, and I do things for the good of the company that benefit me, right? Like, I have my quota, and my quota helps the company, it helps me.
Right.
Then there's my manager who manages other sellers.
Correct.
And my question is, are people born with that management, credo? Like, or is that empathy something you can learn, right?
Like that. That's a more difficult question. I think anybody can be trained to be a good manager.
Okay.
You can't be trained to have good values.
I think management is important. If you truly are a good leader, you should put other people first.
Well, that's a value thing, right? Okay. So I can teach you all the very quickly, right? Like the mechanics of a good manager, but what you can't teach is like the underlying values of the person, right? Mm-hmm. You can't make a person like, I don't know, a caring individual all of a sudden. You just can't do it. Mm-hmm. Like, they either are or they're not, and it's going to come across that way.
When you say the mechanics of a good manager, what does that entail?
Yeah, like I said, getting in the fire with you, this okay. You know what I'm saying? That you can teach, mm-hmm. but without that, a value system kind of like matching up, right? It's just all kind of flimsy.
When you mean mechanics, though, is that like setting up meetings or following through on your time? What, like one-on-ones? But then what I say is empathy, you say caring, right? But
sure.
To me, that is the most important part of being a manager. And so my question is, as an individual contributor or salesperson, I get to be selfish, and it's okay.
Yeah.
And I think that with management, they need to almost deprioritize the selfish part, or maybe it's they're being selfish in a good way, by helping everyone else be successful.
It just depends too on your guys. Like, imagine you have a bunch of people that work for you who are super competitively motivated, mm-hmm. right? Then you can't really be the same person, mm-hmm. right? Like you don't want the same person in the manager spot who is like super nurturing, right? Because these guys, I keep saying that, but these people show up and they want to kill the next guy, right?
Yeah.
So they're going to outperform them, right? And if you have a bunch of those people, you need the kind of manager that lights them all on fire.
But how does that manager manage effectively and with that caring quality you talked about?
He doesn't need to have caring quality in that sense.
You're saying that company culture is intercompetitive, and that means the manager should be competition driving.
Yeah. So my point is, I don't work well in that situation.
Yeah.
But I can easily imagine a scenario where that, like a different company, right? Mm-hmm. Where you don't want, my manager mm-hmm. would not be the one I want if I was working that job.
Yeah.
I love my manager now, mm-hmm. right? But he may not do well in that scenario, mm-hmm. and he may not be a good manager even for me if I was working mm-hmm. for that company in that scenario.
Yeah.
It's got to be there's a culture fit, there's a team fit, right? There's a person fit. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, that's it goes back to what I was saying about alignment and telling the truth. If it's not a good fit, then both the manager and you might already know that. Right?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah,
and your manager might not enjoy being with you if you don't.
And sometimes you're
with them.
You're the wrong fit for the company.
Yeah.
Right? Like your manager's great, but you're wrong fit for the company.
But hopefully that comes out in the interview process.
Dude, come on, okay. If I knew that every girl I ever dated, right, hated her mother immediately, I would not date them. But you don't put your worst foot forward.
Yeah, but the company should be able to test for that with those stupid questions they ask about tennis balls in a subway station. Or
well, so there was a Psychology Talks is a blog that I like, and I haven't read in a while, but he's big into hiring, firing, like work stuff, right, among other things, right?
Yeah.
And so he posted this paper one time. It was again, it must be 6-7 years ago, right? Uh-huh. But it was about the best way to do an interview, right? What was the best way of doing it is raw IQ tests.
Okay,
just give them an IQ test That worked out 51% of the time.
But that's just that test for SMART.
Just hold on.
Okay.
Hold on, right? Okay, so that's first one, right? And really the test is for G. IQ test is just one of the aspects of G, right? Okay, so the second best way, which is 50%, right, was a structured interview. By that, they meant like a shadow program. Like you get hired for like 2 months, a month, whatever, right?
Like a rotation, yeah.
And then you're based on probation, right? And then if you work out, it's good, right? And then that costs a lot of time,
sure,
a lot of money, right? And the people kind of cycle through, right?
Yeah.
So that's not always best. A unstructured interview or whatever is just like what they do now, and that works about a quarter of the time. So like, it would be better, right? And the job I work at for the IT gig, like you need to be. There's only 2 things you need, right? Like maybe 3. You need to have a base level of intelligence, fine, because it's data manipulation.
You need to be able to manage Excel or whatever the data comes in.
But that's like basic, right? The 2 things you need absolutely, right, are to be able to work efficiently under stress.
Sure.
A lot of stress.
Okay.
Right? Because some people crack. Right? You need that one, and then you need good customer service skills. Because like you are dealing with the clients directly, and if you screw up, like you make mistakes, right? If you screw up, it's way easier when the client likes you. Yeah. You know, because they go, okay, well, this is what we can do, right?
Yeah.
Versus just trying to pound Thor's hammer through your head.
Yeah.
Right? So like there's those, if you have those 2 things and you have a base level intelligence, all I'm saying is that you can abstractly think about data, like, right?
Yeah.
Like this goes here, this goes there, this piece goes there, or whatever, right? But in your head, if you can do those 2-3 things, like you're gonna be great at this job. But it's hard to find out how people are gonna react under pressure, because that's the main one, right?
Yeah. Well, you're in a client-facing role too.
Yeah.
Not everyone's client-facing, but
like we have some guys on the team who are not great at customer service. Like, I mean, they're fine, but like they're not. That's not their like.
There's a spectrum of talent.
Yeah, that's not. But we have one guy who I just call him a mercenary. He's a merc, right? He's not great at talking to people, but it doesn't matter because his stuff looks great.
Really?
Yeah. We send him into the toughest projects every time.
Just the work speaks for itself.
Yeah, it does, right?
Yeah.
And especially clients that aren't great communicators, he's like, I don't care.
Yeah.
Like, and he just knocks it out.
I think some people are just born with certain skills.
But he's not a good teacher.
Which is okay, because
fine.
His job is to just murk.
Exactly.
Is to kill it.
We have another guy who's almost as good, right? But he's a great communicator, right? So we put him on the challenging client stuff, but maybe not the most challenging technical stuff.
Yeah.
Right? So we have, so, it just depends. But for us to figure out if you're going to be good or not, we have to figure out how you're going to do under stress. You can't stress a guy out like in 10 minutes, right? Like, doesn't make any sense. Like, you have to see it, right? So we started doing, because I talked to my boss about this when I was there, right? She was open to a new process. So like, we basically just hired 2, 3, 4 people like under probation, tried them out for like 4 or 5 months, and whoever stuck. And that worked out pretty well.
But you do waste the people that don't stick. So there's churn.
Yeah, fine. There's some churn, but
yeah. I think the thing you said about working under pressure is really important too. And in the interview process, I would hope that would be through telling stories or putting you through a simulated test, they would be able to figure out, can this person work under stress?
It's too easy to put your best foot forward.
You really think people are just faking it in interviews, putting your best foot forward?
100% they're faking it.
And then they get to the day one, they get to the job and it's all embellished or exaggerated?
Not all, but there's some embellishment for sure. 100% there's some embellishment.
I mean, I know I do, but I'm the salesperson, like I said.
Yeah,
like,
so
I persuade.
Everybody is like you like that. Okay. They did this another study about people who like apply to jobs they're not 100% qualified for. Okay, men, they said that if they're 60% qualified for that job, they'll apply.
They will apply. Yeah.
And women's were like 90%. They feel like they're 90 to 100% qualified for the job to apply the job, or that they're overqualified.
I've heard about this that women won't go, that they won't get into the seat and then figure it out later, like men are comfortable.
Yeah. So like just right there, the dude in the interview isn't qualified. He's got to embellish it a little,
of course,
because he's not qualified. So that alone, right there, should tell you that like almost everybody, like, okay, by that, just that research, like pretty much every guy, right, is like embellishing a little. Who knows women? But the point is, like, most everybody's embellishing to some degree. I mean, everyone does for like any time. Like, your first date, like, are you gonna?
Yeah, you're gonna put your best foot forward there.
Exactly, like that's how that goes.
So I heard this really great podcast recently where someone was talking about relationships with, like the opposite sex or whoever you would choose, and their position was just be truthful. And on the first date, maybe you should be more open with who you are instead of trying to be all prim and proper and open the door and everything. Like maybe there's a way to be more genuine even on the first few weeks or months that you're dating someone, because eventually that stuff's going to come out. That was his position, was some people might be with the wrong person because they are getting closer to who they really are, and that takes time.
So like you start hearing it kind of asymptotically, like who you actually are. So that makes some sense. The thing is, if the person's expectation is geared toward this is your best foot, and then you come out with like your normal stuff, they go, that's all you're like, that's the best you'll be. It'll get worse than this. Is what they're thinking, right? So now you kind of like a harder sales job almost, because the next time you see them, like you got to convince them that it's not going to get worse, because that wasn't my best foot forward. Those are just both my feet. Yeah. Right. So like it's just about expectation.
Are you saying that the person either has it or they don't?
Okay, so imagine I want to date. Right?
Yeah.
Okay. And I do what you said, right? Like I just put both feet forward, right?
You're just Arpan like you woke up that morning.
Correct.
You're not doing anything extra. You're not performing in any way.
Correct, right? But she's expecting me to be best foot forward, and so she sees me and she goes, "Oh, this is the best you are."
Okay.
Okay.
Oh, that's a good point, because then there's something that you can strive for there.
Well, the point is, you have two things to do, right? One is to convince her that this is me, but it's not going to get worse. Well, because she's expecting it to get worse over time, right? Because expectation-wise, she's expecting like best foot, and I'm giving her both feet. So she's thinking, oh, well, where's the other foot? And I go, no, it was always there.
But can you retain that same level?
That's the point. So that's the first thing you gotta do.
Okay.
Right. Second thing you gotta do is to like, hopefully both feet are good enough.
Yeah.
Okay. So you would have lost someone, right? Like imagine like I had to hit X bar, right? And I'm just below it. But that X bars on the first day, she would have settled for this over time, right? But I'm here, and I'm actually gonna meet or exceed her expectations over time. But I lost her initially,
okay,
because her expectations are set up that way.
Okay,
so I think that line of like doing it is a little. I don't like that way of doing it, right? Because like it depends on the other person's expectations.
Well, let's switch this up. So I totally see what you're saying. Roles are switched.
Okay.
As men that are straight on a date with a girl, right? Sure. Like, I don't know that I'm walking in there saying, these are my non-negotiables. This person can't have this or that. Unless, I guess I don't feel like that's conscious. Or I wouldn't have asked them on that date in the first place.
You also wouldn't have known sometimes.
What your non-negotiables are?
You know what they are, but you don't know what their answer is going to be.
Yeah, so I guess that's the dating process.
Yeah, that's the point, right? So like, like it's a little more complicated than I think being like, oh, just be yourself. You're like, okay, no.
Yeah, I think about that a lot. This idea of sincerity and being genuine, like
authentic is different than, like I can be authentic, but I can spin it a little.
Okay.
Do you know what I'm saying? And it's still me, right? Like I'm wearing a white shirt.
Okay.
There's a little spin on it. Do you know what I'm saying?
I can't say that you have a black shirt on. You have a white shirt on. You could say I have a white shirt with other things, right?
Yeah, so I could tell her that, or I could be like, hey, I got this really cool like spring butterfly shirt on. It's
the same thing, but you're authentic in different words or different ways.
So I'm authentic in both scenarios, but I can spin it to like right. So like I think that's a little disingenuous.
Yeah. So one of the things I wanted to ask you is that I think you talked about having 3 positions or 3 jobs, or you know, getting bored or just not being able to sit in one place.
Well, I can't do one thing.
Yeah. Okay.
At a time. Yeah.
What was that? Your parents that taught you that, or like?
I think it's innate.
Just Arpan as a person is that way.
Yeah, I'm literally always that. Like I was in high school. I played club volleyball. But like, you know, obviously you're off for when you're playing high school.
Yeah.
In high school, but that's our season. The girls' season is like fall, and our season was spring, right? So I would be playing club volleyball. I was on the chess team, and I coached the girls.
you're on the chess team and you're a coach as a high schooler, same age as the girls.
Yeah,
and
I was a team manager and I coached the defensive girls.
Yeah. But even being in the girls' practice, you learn things probably for your own practice.
Yeah, it's helpful to teach, right? Because it solidifies what you
can see, and just reps too on the volleyball court.
Also true, reps. Yeah.
With volleyball, have you found that you are in a better place now as compared to before?
I feel way better indoor. Like I feel like I'm starting to get there. We have some monsters in the gym.
Yeah,
like some absolute as you know.
Is Sunday the day that everyone comes, or
two
days a week?
Now it's outdoor, right? Because like it's nice out, beach, grass, right? So it's like kind of a different game.
Okay.
And so I was just telling someone that like some guys indoor, I believe I'm better than. Let's just put it that way, right? And then I play with them on the sand, and I'm like looking up to them, like,
holy shit,
you're really good. And I'm like, I should be thinking that.
But what's the difference? The fact that
the game's slower, right?
The sand it is?
Yeah, the game's slower. It's a lot more like power control. Like you're not trying to bang the ball. It's a lot more like control, right? And so it's a different way of playing. It's a different way of playing. And also the surface matters. It's like you have to jump differently.
Totally.
Your timing is different, right? I mean, the court's different.
Yeah.
So, like, everything is different about the game. So, though, like, the mechanics are the same, like, I still pass like this. You know what I'm saying? Like, I still have the same arm swing, right? There's a lot of things about it that are different.
What makes it slower? Is it 6-on-6?
No. It's sand's 2-on-2. Okay. And then grass can be 2s, 3s, or 4s. Mm-hmm. Actually, sand can be 4s, too, actually. But, you don't normally play with 6, right? The court's small. So, first thing is the court's smaller. So when you go and try and bang, like the court's 4 foot, like you're not going to hit it in a ton more.
You said power controls is different?
Yeah, the control of your power is big. Yeah, because with 2s, especially with one guy blocking, there's a lot of court that one guy's got to cover, right? So you don't always need to just go smash or go off hands.
Yeah.
You can just poke line or poke this or whatever. So the outdoor guys that play only ever outdoor, when they come inside, it's terrible. Because they're trying to poke and tap and you're way faster indoor.
Oh, there goes the mic. Anyway, go on.
So you're way faster indoor, right? So, like, you can't do that. But indoor guys, when they transition to outside, they have all the right form, the technique, the pace of the game is a lot faster, so their eyes are better. So when they go outside, they have to, like, adjust to, like the swing and this and that, right? But it's a much shorter of a process. Yeah.
I remember like Igor, our buddy from indoor.
He's a monster.
He just smashes it so hard.
It's insane how hard he hits it.
Is it his form? You think? What is it?
Okay, one he jumps really high, so he has time in the air.
He definitely jumps high too.
Yeah, he jumps up probably 36 inches, something like that. 30, 40. So when he jumps at, what it allows him to do is to, like, if you actually watch him, like all his mechanics, he does it picture perfect. Like he'll rotate his arm, like his back. Right, and then he'll come through it with his abs. He'll whip his hand, like all of it. It's picture.
So you're saying that his technique is part of the reason?
Oh, it's a big part of the reason, but he also is just physically gifted.
I feel like people that are able to jump high in volleyball, you are disproportionately rewarded for that because you can get up and get over the ball. You know.
Not just that, you have time to load up. Right, you can twist. Like if you have a 12-inch vertical, you cannot. Like jump and then twist, like jump and twist in the air and then come through with everything. You need a little bit of time for that, right? So you can't do it unless you're right. So if you're hitting like 24, like really 24 to 30 inches in your vertical, then you can do proper mechanics like in the air. But that may not be the case because like they're teaching proper mechanics to young girls who are like 14 and they can't jump 30 inches.
Yeah.
So like I think that thesis is not very good, but it's definitely helpful.
Yeah.
To be able to jump. So you can basically separate out the jump versus the hit.
There's some other folks that play with us, like Tim, Nick,
Tim.
And they just have like an understanding of the game.
Well, Tim's newer to the game, so actually he's a very methodical man.
Yeah.
So he thinks about things a lot. So he's only been playing like 3 years.
Okay. Who are some of the people that have had the most experience in the gym?
Nick. Nick played D2. Emily played D2.
I'd love to have Nick on the podcast sometime soon. But
He's away right now. Yeah.
What about like Irv? Has Irv played?
No, he's a wrestler. He was a wrestler in high school. You can kind of tell in his technique that he was a wrestler.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, I appreciate you teaching me more about the form. Like, it's been really hard to break old habits.
Oh, it will.
And like, I know, and I've been thinking about this. I play tennis.
Yeah.
I've been playing tennis recently.
Yeah.
And even that, it's like the muscle memory of that, I think, is affecting my ability to hit a volleyball too. But I know that
the serve mechanics for tennis is very similar to what you should be doing for volleyball.
Mm-hmm. Kind of like tossing it up consistently in the same place.
Not the toss; it's the arm swing.
Okay.
So like when you throw it up for tennis, you load up, right? And you come with a high elbow, and you come through with your abs, and you whip your hand, aka like the racket through it.
Yeah.
Right. That's the exact same motion. It's just you have a racket, so it's, your contact point's higher.
Yeah.
Right, but like that's the exact motion. Like how you're supposed to serve is how you're supposed to hit in volleyball.
Yeah, but what about
the difference is sometimes you come across your body, and you know, like you can do it. That's part of the technique of volleyball, but I just wouldn't do that right away. Like you serve from like the deuce court.
Yeah, when we played at Windy City over the winter, I felt like most points. I mean, so the thing about volleyball, it's great is that once you get past the learning curve, you can have some great volleys.
Yeah,
you know?
Yeah, it's a lot
and
of fun.
I love that everyone is able to pass and able to set. Not everyone's able to set, you know, but most people can do this as a pass.
Yeah.
And then everyone is just ripping it.
Oh yeah. And then I always tell people like there's your warm up studs.
Yeah.
So some guys can just crank during like warm ups, like during headlines, and then you put a block in front of them and they suck.
Yeah.
It's so fun to watch.
Really?
Because I'm not a warm up.
Because you're
stud.
a blocker, you asshole.
Yeah. Like I'm not a warm up stud. Like I can bounce a ball short, but like that's not good technique. Like rarely you're gonna like. You know, because you hit the ball so low.
Mm-hmm.
If you hit the ball that low to the tape, my mother can block you.
Yeah, I'm with you.
You gotta swing high, swing at hands. So you're trying to hit back line, corners, right?
Yeah, you're definitely good at the backs, the corners, I think.
That's where you're supposed to hit. Yeah, so, you know, because I could try and bury a ball, but like
when it comes to the
mother will block
the positioning that you know, 6 spots and you switch to get in the right place. Okay, Werle, you're going to be outside this game. Like, how did that take you a long time to learn, or
that takes like probably just a few times, really. Like,
because
you're doing the same rotations each time.
I do feel like I'm getting better, but when you put me at left side one time, my mind got frazzled. I was like really
right
trying.
Side, because I always put you left side.
Yeah.
One time I put you right side.
I went to a different side. That's what it was.
Correct. Yeah, and that will mess you up.
Because then even like, okay, on this rotation, I need to get back. Like that really is the same thing. Okay, when Irv is there or when Igor's there, I should be right here. But like, it just takes reps, I guess.
Yeah, it's just reps.
So
that's easy.
I've been with you probably 5 or 6 times. I'm still learning it.
It's because it's inconsistent. Like, if you came every week at the same time, you'd be fine. Yeah, like you come like once, and then a month later you'll come. Like you forgot what we.
Yeah, we'll get back out there. Yeah, it'll be fun.
Yeah. Well, especially with outdoor, you don't need to learn it.
Yeah,
like, you have 2 people on a sand court.
I just love just Monday nights going to the beach. I know Mason was talking about going back to Foster this year.
Okay.
But with Montrose, like I'm kind of going all over the place here. I mean, we're talking about like jumping with sand or whatever. Like that sand at Montrose is super packed down, and I felt like I was able to get much higher there than on the sand.
We played a lot when it was wet.
Yeah.
You know?
We were closer to the lake instead of the Foster being farther up the beach.
Yeah. So it's just wetter, so you're gonna get that.
And is grass always a maximum of 4 or?
I can't remember.
For organized?
Yeah, max 4. Yeah, like it's doubles, triples. Like there's a luau that just happened. The luau was like they had a tournament, and in the luau style tournaments they just do open bar. It's kind of fun. I didn't do it yesterday, but they had one. So they had doubles, they had triples for same sex, so like guys and girls triples.
Yeah,
and they had co-ed 4s. So that's how they ran that luau.
When you say open bar, what's that mean?
Literally, like
you walk up to the bar and all the drinks are free.
It's like a wristband.
Just tip your bartender, kind of thing.
Yeah. Yeah.
That sounds dangerous. Is that like Bollywood or what? What events are like that?
I don't know of any other ones like that, but like probably maybe Bollywood's like
even if you don't play, come and watch. That sounds like a fun party.
Oh, dude, it was great. So we had they do other indoor events.
Yeah.
Right? And so I did 2 of their events this past year, and it was, or one of their events, and it was literally that first of all, we sucked. I sucked. It was my first tournament since like college, right? So I couldn't pass.
Really?
I'm not kidding you, Nick. I didn't have a single pass this
day. I would like to play you that day, because then like maybe we would have been on the same level.
I literally couldn't pass.
Because I could pass anything if I'm motivated to get there.
I was so scared. I was like nervous. I was just jittery the whole time. I couldn't swing. I couldn't pass. I couldn't block. Yeah, it was just bad. I was so nervous. But so we sucked, and we didn't do well, mostly because of me. And
I doubt that, but
it was. I'm telling you, Nick, I not won. But the point is, but it was an open bar.
Yeah.
And so that's where I met Igor actually, because I was just drinking.
No way.
Yeah,
That's awesome.
I was just drinking. I was like, okay, well, time to get loaded.
And how great is just networking within the volleyball community? It's awesome.
Oh, it's so much fun, and like especially if you can play a little, people will just invite you to everything. I got two texts today. Like, hey, do you want to play today? I was like, oh. One guy texted at 10:30. Okay, dude, I woke up yesterday at 6 o'clock to play volleyball at 7 a.m.
Jeez.
for 3 hours.
Dedication.
Yeah, I was like, what am I doing? But I'll do it.
I just love the game that much.
Dude, it's so much fun.
Did you play anything else in high school or just volleyball?
Not for the high school team. I played every sport.
You were repping the chess club.
Yeah, that's true. But
that's a sport, I guess.
That's weird. Like true chess people go, it's a sport, and I go, it's a game.
I love that Netflix show. There's one about
it's Queen's Gambit.
Yeah. The girl who's just beating all the guys, and it really kind of dives into sexism and how the world used to be 30, 40 years ago, and like she was just killing everyone that she was playing. She just studied the game constantly.
Yeah, that's the thing is that like it doesn't matter, right? That game doesn't matter who sits on the table, right? And it's one of those full perfect information games where like everyone knows everything about everything, right? It's not like cards, right? Like there's a unknown element. Everything's on the board, right? And then those kind of games is like, if you're good, you're gonna win.
Yeah.
If you're not good, you're gonna lose. It doesn't care.
I love the idea of like this is the Spanish Armada, like whatever that word
Spanish
is.
Opening, sure.
Yeah, there's different openings and different closings. Like it's so interesting that the game's been around for so long, and there's different strategies based on.
So have you ever heard of variance?
No.
Okay, so like chess is partially. You start with the book, right? And there's like this guy played the Italian the other day, and like I haven't played chess in so long, but like he played the Italian opening, and he just gave me his bishop. Just
why is that?
Because he made it so like I couldn't castle because he just and I was like, okay, whatever, right? And then you're off book. But the point is, like, knowing the book is kind of an advantage for sure. You know what I'm saying? And so how you take that advantage away and just play is you just switch up all the pieces on the back row. Just switch them all up.
Okay.
Right? And so there's no book. Like, every time you switch them up, there's, it could be anything. Right? You just mirror it across, right? So, like, let's say I have a king in the corner or a queen on the other side of the board, and 2 rooks, and then bishop. You know what I'm saying? The book goes out the door.
Because you're affecting the other person's ability to strategize against you.
Well, the book, so like it's acquired knowledge over generations about what to move now on move 5 of the Spanish.
Oh, really?
Right? So that's not really chess, right? It's like it's memorization.
Yeah.
The actual game of chess is like they always say like when you're off book, like when you're actually in the mid game, you're actually playing a game, right? They literally go, "This is where the game began." Okay. We did the Spanish opening up to like move 7.
Okay.
This is where the big game began.
Interesting.
They literally say that.
So like there's like a posturing time, and then there's a beginning time, 7 or 8 moves after.
Yeah, after the book's done. But the point is, then you're playing chess. Then you're going, okay, do I do a minority attack here? What's he doing? Is he going to put a battery?
There's more dynamic decisions to make when the game opens.
Exactly, right?
Okay.
How you get rid of the book is you just switch up all the pieces on the back.
Yeah.
It's called a variant. And so from move 1, it's a game.
Interesting.
Do you understand? Because the same things apply, right? Like king has to be, checkmated or whatever things like that, right? But like because all the pieces switches, you don't have the generational information.
Yeah.
Like the book, you don't have the book.
Data.
Yeah, you don't have that. So those are really fun.
Yeah, that sounds fun.
It's just straight up. Am I better than you at strategy or not?
Yeah. With the chess club, would you play other people in the club, or would you guys go to tournaments, or how did that work?
All of it. So we would have matches against our division rivals, and then we'd have tournaments on the weekend, stuff like that. Yeah.
What school would you go to again? What high school?
North.
Nice.
Yeah.
You grew up in that area?
Yeah. Yeah, like I was raised out there, I would say. I was born in New York, but I was raised out there.
So you were born in New York, and then what got you to Chicago?
Well, parents, right? So like they had work, and they had different opportunities. So
when did they move?
I think I was in first grade. So I'm 87 born, so that's like 91 or 92.
Yeah. We
moved to Indiana. We actually moved to South Bend.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Do you remember that at all?
Just the racism.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, the racism? That's crazy.
Oh, yeah. So we lived in a quad, so it was like 2 units on top, 2 units on bottom. And the guy below us was like a black couple. Like,
okay.
Good. They like burned his car.
Jeez.
And they would like my brother. They ran him out of school because they thought I took mug baths.
Mm-hmm.
Like because
do you think potentially that was just the people you were with in South Bend, or just
Could be.
Yeah, I'm from Indiana, so it's hard for me to want to believe that. I'm from Indianapolis, so the biggest city in Indiana. Pretty diverse city, but definitely segregated. Like above 38th Street to 56th Street, actually 38th and below, throughout the whole north side is mostly black.
Okay.
And then, the north side, Carmel, Noblesville.
Right.
Again, it's just really segregated in like the types of people that you see in certain parts of the city.
Like it was, I was a kid, but my mom told me, and she goes, "I found a new job because your brother was getting racially picked on."
That's so crazy, dude.
And the teachers defended it.
I'm so sorry you had that experience.
No, it's fine. My mom's a dog, so she walked in there and she was gonna kill somebody.
It's like traumatizing, probably, for your brother.
It wasn't great,
Yeah.
So she goes, "I don't care what kind of money I make. We're leaving."
Interesting.
And we had a lot of family here in Chicago, and it's not that far away. She goes, "We're just going to the bigger city."
That makes sense.
It also gave my dad more opportunities and stuff like that.
Totally.
Because my dad sacrificed his career for my mom.
Interesting.
So he always found work, but it was different.
Your mom was the main kind of breadwinner?
Oh yeah, she's made 3 times more than my dad my entire life.
That's great. They have that kind of dichotomy of a relationship,
Yeah, like they both knew very early that she was gonna. If they were gonna do well financially, it was because my mom was gonna be the breadwinner.
Yeah.
And he never stepped in the way. They're from India, bro. Like that's not an easy decision.
Yeah. Have you been back to India recently?
Tons. Well, not recently. So 3 years ago I went, but as a kid I go there all the time.
Really?
Like every year for at least a month.
What specific part of India are you from?
Gujarati.
And when I look at India, I think I know what it looks like. Is that east or west or south?
So it's the state that borders Pakistan and the sea.
Okay.
It's that corner.
Is that east or west? Sorry.
West.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. I looked at a population.
I
looked at a population density map of India, and it's crazy how many people are in that state, which is on the northwest side of the.
Yeah.
And I mean, is that where Mumbai is, or
that's a little bit southern?
What's the biggest city in that northwestern region?
You have a little. You have Delhi. Then you have like a bunch of smaller cities like Jaipur, Rajasthan. So the state's called Rajasthan.
Okay.
So Jaipur, Udaipur, Jaisalmer, and what's the other one? Jodhpur. Like those are the 4 big ones in Rajasthan. They're very cute places to go.
Really?
Oh yeah. Jaipur is known as the Rose City. So they painted like the whole city red.
I bet it's gorgeous.
For when I think the Queen came, and back when it was still British occupied. Oh, it's great. Yeah. I think Jodhpur is like a mountain, but the inside's caved out, and it's like water, and they built it on the sides of it. It's amazing. Jaisalmer is I think it's the yellow city, the sun city, because it's made out of this certain type of like clay that gives it like a yellow look. There's a cool fort there and stuff like that, and it's really close to Pakistan.
Yeah.
So you see like the jets fly by.
No way.
Yeah, it's really close to it's a desert basically.
I'd love to visit India sometime. My girlfriend went to Mumbai for work for a whole week, maybe last year, and she said it was crazy. Just there's deep poverty there.
You see it right off the plane.
And she's like, there's one part of the city where it's slums.
Yeah.
Like slums for miles.
Yeah.
But then most of the city is nice in a way, right? But like she just that the stark difference between people that have and have not is pretty vast.
I think it's the most income discrepancy in the world, city-wise, in the world. I think that's true. But you see it right on the plane. So when you fly in to Bombay and like you look at one side of this, like one side of the windows versus the other one, it's literally that stark. Like on the fence where they fenced off for the airport, it's just slums. Like slums. On the other side, you can see like that guy's got a $2 billion house. You can see all of that on the other side.
Do they plan that?
I don't know how much planning goes into India. Like it's the real estate there is so corrupt.
It's so fucked up.
Yeah, it's like that's where the main corrupt players play. Yeah, in that country is real estate.
You said that the caste system is important there, right?
Like, not really.
Okay,
it's not okay. It is and it isn't, right? Is it a true thing? Like where they to some degree, like. The lower class is still given some like educational benefits or things like that, right? Even if they do really well, that's actually one of the problems.
It's nationwide sponsored education, or is there?
It's more like affirmative action.
Affirmative action. Okay.
Yeah, for historically denigrated class of people.
Do you think that that's a smart thing for the nation to do?
You want to talk about affirmative action now?
Well, let's not get political, but I'm just kind of curious. the differences in what you know about India versus the U.S.? Because obviously in politics and culture right now, there's a big kind of push to the left where more communal benefits are being seen as preferable compared to maybe the 80s with Reaganomics and stuff. Again, don't want to get political, but I'm so interested in how India does it, right?
So I would say it this way, right? There are a couple key differences that have led to all the other differences.
Okay.
Right? One of them is that the courts don't work, right? The courts don't work in India. So what happens when the courts don't work? Your contracts mean nothing. They can't be enforced.
Contracts can't be enforced, you're saying?
No, they can't. Where would you go to enforce it? The courts.
There has to be a nationwide law that's generally accepted.
Again, the courts don't work. They have laws.
They can interpret the law, but...
Again, courts don't work. The point is...
Are they corrupt too?
Depends, yeah, but like, they just don't work.
Mm-hmm.
Like, nobody follows the rules.
Yeah.
Okay? Like, I mean, have you ever seen like a road where people are driving a cow? Have you ever seen this in India?
Oh, yeah.
Okay,
where
so
there's like
they have
cars from
laws.
every direction. People just kind of don't follow them.
No, they don't follow them.
What do the police do?
Beat you.
Are they corrupt too?
Yeah. Okay, so here are the downstream effects when the courts don't work, right? Contracts don't mean anything, right? You cannot like personally go after somebody or not, right? Because like, what are you going to do? Take them to court? No. Of course don't work, right? So what are you going to do? Beat them.
That's so messed up.
Yeah. I mean, what else are you going to do? Like talk to the family. Reputation matters, right? Again, with no courts, you have therefore no contracts. You really don't have insurance. What's insurance? How would you enforce insurance with no contract?
Yeah.
Okay, so you have no insurance, right? So now what happens is like that means you're prone to every like tail risk, right? Like medical issues, car accidents, all that stuff, right? I saw a guy like one of the guys that helps drive us when we're there because we don't drive because it's crazy. So he drives us right now. He has a taxi business where he picks up kids. It's like basically a bus.
Yeah.
He picks up kids in the morning, takes them to school. He's off a little bit, right? Comes back, and he has 3 bison, and that's how he takes care of his family.
Yeah.
Okay. That car is everything to them. It's everything to them. That van, right? He some guy nailed him.
Okay.
Like I was in the car, my dad was in the car. He hit us on the side.
Okay.
Right. He's got kids to pick up 2 hours from now.
Okay.
The door doesn't work. Forget that. He hits us, right? What are you going to do? Call the insurance? They don't have insurance. What are you going to take him to court? There's no court. What are you going to do?
Gosh.
Call the police? They don't care.
He's just in a bad place. It just
So
sucks.
what do? You get out and you beat the guy.
Oh my God.
And then he goes home with busted, fine. Nobody kills anybody.
Is this generally accepted in all of India or just some cities?
No, this is how it goes. This is India.
Okay. Delhi is what's the most populous city in India? Delhi or Mumbai?
I think Bombay is probably the most.
Yeah. And she made it sound like there were a lot of people there. Like it was just it's crazy.
Yeah, like you say, you saw a population density map, right? It's basically what the size of like Greater Texas, something like that.
Yeah.
And it's got 1.2 billion people.
Does it just sprawl out for miles and miles, or is it really condensed?
I mean, a little both, but again, it's like a little bigger than Texas, and you have 3 times the population of the United States living there in India.
You told me once
9 times the density.
And one of the things I was going to ask about the caste system, I think it wasn't that. It was just what you said about reputation matters.
It does because again, with no insurance means no safety net.
And does that have to do with the money your family has, or their name, like royalty versus lower castes, or what?
Okay, so to explain this, we have to explain a couple of things, right? So further down this pathway, right, is when you don't have it, insurance, that's part of your safety net, right?
Okay.
It gets rid of the tail risk, right? Other parts of there's not a ton of government programs because again, with no court, no enforcement, not a lot of people pay taxes. Like a lot of people don't pay taxes at all.
Yeah.
Okay, can't be bothered, whatever, right? So no money in also means no social programs out. Really, right? With the social programs, you have no net. There is no net in India. Yeah. Right? Like if you fall in hard times, it's on you.
Okay. What did that guy do with his car door?
He got it fixed. He had to pay the money.
It just sucks. You gotta.
It's
on him.
It's on him. Yeah. So, where's I going? Let me just finish this and then what was I talking about?
We were talking about what creates reputation.
Oh, here we go.
And you said let's go a few steps further.
Okay, so let me just explain all this before you ask a question, right? So that's when I get through this, right? Because I'll lose my train. So when you still need a safety net, right? Because people will still fall in hard times. It's life, right? Okay. How you do that, right, is reputation. Like your social network around you becomes that, right?
Yeah.
We have that here too, but we also have government programs, right? So they have that around it, right? That's all they have is like, right? And would you lend money to a guy? Let's say you need money. Would you lend money to a guy if you knew he was never going to give it back to you?
No.
Okay. So therefore, you have to look like a good bet.
Okay.
Okay. So now you either are a good bet or you have to look like a good bet. Either way, you have to look like a good bet.
Sure.
Okay. So now everything is like vain to some degree.
Okay.
Right? Because you have to keep up appearances. Right? Because like that literally is your insurance policy.
Okay.
Right? Like people care about healthcare sometimes more than they care about income. Right? Their health insurance policy. Right? So that it's kind of like this. Right? So you get a kind of vainness to the culture there.
Okay.
Because you might get look. Everyone has hard times. You might get a hard time, and you need someone to help you out, and they won't do it if you look like a bad bet.
But when you have money to fix your car or your house that's got burned down or something,
Yeah.
you either have it or you don't. So,
Correct.
in what way does being vain or being someone that loves the part matter?
When you don't have it, right, you have to borrow it.
Oh, I see. So you're saying that people that have are people that look the part enough to have access to funds like loans.
Right. So your reputation is part of your safety net.
Yeah.
Right. So like because you can then borrow.
My question was, what makes up reputation?
Like kind of looking like a good bet.
Okay.
So like do you treat like it's kind of that like. I mean, reputation is built on a lot of things. Like, if you take a loan, you pay it back. Word spreads.
What about your last name? Does that matter? Or?
Yeah, very clan based. Yeah. So, So another thing, right? Credit is essentially clan based.
Clan being what?
Like your family or the people like in your village or whatever, right?
No way.
Yeah.
They call it a clan, or you do?
Well, I do. It's the most natural way of credit to form.
Okay.
Right? Like, oh, it's my brother. You're good.
You're good. Like, it's kind of like an insurance policy.
A little, right?
Yeah.
But that also means I'm enforcing my brother. So the internal enforcement, right? Because I'm also putting my name out there. I'm co-signing this, essentially, right? So it's natural. Mostly it's the Catholic Church that broke those kinds of things for the Western democracies. But the point is, that's the most natural way of things to develop, right? Like, don't worry, you're good. He's my brother. It'll be fine. Yeah. And if I know you really well, you go, okay, fine. Do you understand? That's a natural way of doing it. But that means I'm enforcing on him, like I'm supposed to be coming after him hard. Yeah. Right. So you don't have to. So it protects my name. That's the idea. I've co-signed this with you. Yeah. So that's how credit gets formed. It's kind of clan based. Especially when you're not given that with there's no contracts or no banks. You know what I'm saying? Like all this kind of stuff.
Can you go into the idea of a clan? You said people in like the village that you're in. Is that
Is that
an old fashioned way to look at it, or is it more about families now?
The old fashioned way of looking at it, like probably best defined, right, probably what you'd find in the dictionary is like your family and extended family, right? How that concept works, at least in our part of India, let's put it that way, is your village, your other fellow villagers are kind of also your family. So, for instance, you're not supposed to marry someone from the village.
You're supposed to marry outside the village.
Correct, because if you marry someone from the village, it's like you married your sister.
Potentially incestual, even if you're not like blood related.
No, because again, you're supposed to marry outside the village, so it's not really incestual. But the point is, it's looked upon as if it was kind of incestual. Like you're not supposed to marry your village person.
That's so interesting. It'd be like me being from Indianapolis, or let's say I'm from a small town in Illinois, right? Yeah. I'm not supposed to date anyone or marry someone inside my town.
Correct.
How big could that town be in this mindset of not dating outside the village?
I mean, like Ahmedabad's like a big city, so like that's fine, right?
It's
but
different,
like, it's it's different. Yeah.
Yeah, it's interesting. Village, thinking that this idea of a village has like lived on, even when people are in cities, like it still remains part of that.
Well, you still need farmers. You still need still need all that kind of stuff. Like that's what my parents grew up doing.
So kind of last thing on India, like I know that the Indian wedding is like it's like an all night affair. It's a week long sometimes, right? Or
it's
like
usually 4 days.
Yeah, damn. The Americans have 1 day, right? And like, is there anything about the 4 day wedding that has been around for a while, and like what has made that tradition of the wedding or the marriage so impactful in India?
Hard question. It's also regional. So I don't know if the South does it the same way we do, but I know the North does to some degree, right? So like it's also regional. Like for us in the West, it's a 4-day affair, right? I don't know how to stand the test of time because it's just a tradition, right? So like it's hard to answer, but like they've done it this way, they've always done it this way, they keep doing it this way, you know what I'm saying? And it changes a little bit, but the culture is rather conservative, so like not really much. Like you can shorten it and do that kind of stuff, but like
people marry for love, right?
Yeah, of course.
It doesn't have to do with how much money the other person's family has, or
sometimes.
Really, are they ever arranged?
For sure, my parents are arranged.
Really?
Yeah.
But there's obviously love there.
Yeah, now.
Yeah, that's so crazy. Just thinking about.
My mom went there, like in January of the year, and by end of February they were married.
Interesting. And your dad obviously came from a similar type of family as your mom because they were able to arrange it.
No, it's different.
Huh.
They each had 4 siblings, like that kind of stuff's the same. But like my mom's dad was a farmer. My dad's dad was a businessman.
Okay.
And he had a very large tobacco exporting company, like very large. Yeah, they did well when they first got married. But my mom's family is very poor. Like they grew up not very poor, like pretty poor, and then they all came to the States. And so my dad married my mom, and then he came to the States as well. But like my dad's family was well off.
Props on your mom for being just a badass and just like making so much money and like being the breadwinner of the family. From that kind of upbringing.
It's why I think I date the way I do, or like have the expectations of women the way I do. It's because like my mom was a total badass, right? And like I don't really want to date someone who isn't.
You got to have intelligence.
Yeah, like she's smart, ambitious, right? Like definitely frugal, right? I mean, not terrible,
but saving your money is smart.
Yeah, she's a very good delayed gratification person.
Yeah, for sure.
Very good about that.
Yeah, you got to find a badass,
Tesla, they got their
intelligent women. You know, you got to find your queen.
yeah. She has her Tesla, whatever, right? Like, it's not like she doesn't spend her money, but
of course,
delayed gratification.
Hey, let me tell you, I have a Tesla too, and it's actually a way to save on gas. I mean, people don't realize how much gas in the long run adds up.
Yeah.
Every 2 days, I go to the local super market area where I just charge my car for 40 minutes, and I can also charge it in my garage. That hits my electric bill.
Right.
But over time, the Tesla's a great investment.
Yeah, and like, dude, super safe. It's crazy the safety rating on those.
I didn't know. I just like going fast.
Yeah. No, I think it's the safest car they've ever made.
It's so heavy. Maybe that's why.
It's more like the engine block isn't there. So you can use it for pure shock absorption.
Interesting.
Nothing else.
It doesn't, like, for instance, on the back seat, normally most cars have that, it goes parallel to the back seat area. It's like where the axle would be.
Yeah.
Right? That's not existent in my Tesla. It's so cool. It's like, because there is no axle. Like, it's rear-wheel drive, but there's batteries in the bottom of this car, and it powers the car. There's no, like, transmission in there. You know, you're not transmitting gasoline to energy. It's electric.
Yeah, like it's like, and then you have what? Don't you have 2 trunks?
Yeah, there's a frunk.
Yeah,
It's a little, like, it's not the biggest thing, but it's an area you can put, tennis balls or basketballs or your charging equipment, that kind of thing.
So that area in the front is shock absorption basically, and utility for putting stuff in, right? So like they didn't have to do it for like, okay, well, the gears go here and this, you know what I'm saying? Like they can do pure shock absorption. So that's what they did, and like it's wicked safe.
I didn't know that about Tesla, about the safety ratings.
I think it is the Model S back X many years ago was the absolute, by far, the safest car ever.
I'm really glad to get it now in 2020, 2021 because they've been out for 6-7 years at this point. That they've been through iterations of the other models, or even the Model S is what we have.
Okay.
I heard it's just a super awesome car all the way around because they've been able to improve after all these years.
Yeah, like, I mean, so you're obviously not an early adopter, right?
I'd say I'm in the middle of the road.
I'm definitely not early adopter.
The fact that I'm
like
driving
a late adopter.
If I'm driving an EV, I think, considering the spectrum of all people, right?
Yeah.
The consumers, I would get to be early adopter.
No.
3% of all cars are electric right now.
Oh, that's what you mean. Okay, fine. Okay, if you want to do it that way.
But yeah,
I see what you're saying.
You said that you're not an early adopter?
No. This phone is new, okay?
Yeah.
I love it. It's great. Well, actually, it's the iPhone SE or whatever, right? I had an iPhone 5S.
Yeah.
Until then. And it was cracked out.
Not everyone needs the newest iPhone.
Yeah, that's me. I don't need it. I don't want it.
Yeah.
Because it's probably got bugs in it. I don't want to deal with it.
Yeah.
So I'd rather, like you said, go through a bunch of iterations and then get it to me. And I'm fine.
Yeah. Yeah, it's funny how people have differences.
Yeah.
Let's wrap it up.
Cool.
Normally I ask a question to end it.
Okay.
Sometimes they're serious, sometimes they're, funny or kind of lighthearted.
Okay.
I was going to ask you a really serious one.
Mm-hmm.
To you, what is the meaning of life? Like, what is it when you wake up in the morning that says, this is a meaningful day? Or, like, what are you striving towards?
I don't know how to answer that. Don't really know how to answer that.
So for me, it has to do with like telling the truth. I know you and I have talked about that, and I think
at length,
if people can live happily, and I don't think happiness is what you should look for. You should look for meaning as a thing, whatever that meaning is for you. You need to tell the truth up to the point where you don't hurt someone.
And we've talked about this,
but not on purpose. You shouldn't hurt them. You shouldn't need to hurt them in order to live a meaningful life. You're able to tell the truth without being selfish, I think, is the way to do it.
Okay. I mean, we've talked about this before. I don't know if you want to ask it now, but like...
Well, what's your opinion?
Well, I think truth is overtraded.
Is overtraded?
Yeah, it's trading a premium right now. Like, so in another podcast, Eric Weinstein goes over...
Love Weinstein.
Yeah. So you probably heard of this then.
Okay,
like,
go.
He goes, there's truth, grace, fitness, and meaning.
Okay.
Right? And truth is one of them, right? But like, for instance, like I was at so my home inspector is also a fireman, right? Mm-hmm. And I was sitting with him one day and he goes, do you tell the truth to everyone that you save out of a fire? And he goes, no. In fact, I almost never do. And I go, why? He goes, well, let's say I have a severed limb, right? If I tell them they're probably going to bleed out, they're going to bleed out faster. Okay? Because they're panicking and worried, right? What do I tell them? They're in shock. What do I tell them? I go, what do you do? And he goes, I tell them they're fine. That this is easily done. Because then they don't panic. Their heart rate reduces. They know they're going to be fine. They're in shock. They're not thinking rationally, obviously, right? And the paramedics have a better chance of saving their life. Fitness over truth, right? Things like that, right? So I think truth is a meme right now. Honestly, it's just one of those things people tag on things like always not lying or whatever. I don't know.
So you're saying people are insincere while saying how sincere they are or how truthful they are?
No, it's just it's overtraded. Like, are you a collection of atoms? Right? For sure. Right? That's the truth, right? But is there like a different collection of atoms that makes up a baby? Do you know what I'm saying? Like the baby is also a collection of atoms, but we treat it quite differently. There's a lot of meaning you get out of having a child. My brother just had a kid last night. You know what I'm saying? Like the baby's fresh out of the oven right now, right? So I have to go see him at some point. But the point is, I asked him, do you feel different? Right? He goes, everything's different. I go, I don't know if that's my brother's sarcasm. I'm like, I don't know if that's sarcasm, right? He goes, I'm not kidding.
Really?
Everything is different now, right? There's grace there. There's meaning there, right? That's different than the truth of it just being a bunch of atoms.
I have heard having kids is pretty just an impactful life before that and then life after that because you're kind of living for someone else or, in dedication of creating the best human you can. And
the sum of all that is greater than just a collection of atoms.
Yeah.
Right? Truth is a collection of atoms.
Truth is a collection of atoms to you.
Yeah. In that sense. Do you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
It's overtraded.
Okay.
So I would prioritize truth less than other things.
Yeah.
Sometimes in a given scenario, for sure.
You said that, he said that there's fitness and other aspects that can make up a meaningful life or a meaning.
No. All I'm saying is that, you were talking about how being truthful is part of what you define as meaning for life, right? And that's cool, right? I wouldn't. That's not how I would define.
Is there?
Life.
I know that you said it's hard to say or even get to, but is there anything that you are thinking of that's forming meaning as you go throughout your day?
Oh yeah, I mean all the time. I like what I do. I like helping people out, right? I like to take care of people. So my general contracting gig, I don't need to do it, obviously.
Okay.
Right? But I do it because, my carpenter, he's not my carpenter, but he's also, my business partner, right? He just needed help getting jobs at some point a few years back, right? And I was like, well, I know how to get jobs, and I can for sure help you run the contracts, the estimate. I can do all that, right? And you need the help. And he's a good dude. He's a good man.
You're providing him work, which is like really, really nice.
Yeah, and also like he's also a bit younger. Like he's 25, right? I met him when he was like 21.
Really?
Yeah, like I met him really young, right? So he's just starting off, right? He's wired very similar to the way I am. So I kind of saw a little bit of myself in him, right?
Interesting.
And so I was like, I wish someone was there to help me out sincerely.
Sure.
And I've had like older mentors for sure, right? And a lot of times it was sincere, but sometimes it turned insincere.
Yeah.
Do you understand? And so I know for him, like, I can help him out in a lot of different ways, not just getting him work.
Yeah.
So like, I do it because like he can go off and do his own thing for sure. There's no question, right? But he always wants to work with me. Yeah. Right. And I make sure that I never abuse that.
Yeah. Well, you said that helping people out.
He actually just worked on Brady's house.
No way.
Yeah. I literally 2 days ago.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
I just call that love, right? Or like being being a nice person. Like there has to be somewhere. That has to be somewhere, I think, in your meaning. Unless you're someone that's totally hedonistic, always just looking to, I don't know, not help people.
I think I probably put it this way better. Like, I try and reward what I want to see more of. Yeah. Of course, we all do, right? Yeah. I want to see more people wired like him. I want to see more people do well who are good-natured people. And I will do what I got to do that. And then I will punish those who I believe, right, are doing things the wrong way. Like, I don't want to be around you. I like get away from me. Like, you know, something. I have nothing to do with you.
So, do you think that meaning could be partially like almost enforcing your worldview, or not enforcing?
Like, I don't want to put it that way. Like, it's such a large question. I don't know how to answer that. But if you ask me how I live my life, right, I do it that way. I don't whine. I whine about whiners.
Totally.
Does that make sense? Yeah. Like, if it's cold, I'm not going to tell you it's cold. I don't care. Like, just move on. Do you understand? Yeah. But, like, if someone keeps yakking that it's cold, like, put a sweater on or leave or do something else. Do you understand? Yeah. I'm that guy.
Well, I think everyone does kind of put people around their lives that they value what they value, right?
Yeah.
So. Yeah. Okay, man. Lighthearted question. Okay. So, what are you looking forward to most this summer? Summertime shy.
Well, I got a taste of it last night.
Yeah.
Dude, I was telling... Oh, that wasn't recorded, that part of it, right? Okay, so, yeah, I was out, and I'm so used to packing it in at midnight, right? Like midnight, whatever. Yeah. Okay, I was in line at Progress, we were in Boystown, and it was a long line. We got there at like 10:30. Oh, actually, we got there at 10:30, let's be honest here. Anyway, so, we got there late. But the point is, it was a long line, and it took like an hour to get in. By the time we, were about to get in, it was 11:30, and I was like, okay, we're here for, a drink. It's fine. No one told me it's open late. And there's, a line behind me, too.
Oh, yeah.
Like, what are they doing still here?
They can close at 2 now, I think. Even 4.
3 was this one. But here's the story, right? So we walk in. There's 10 of us, so it's 2 parties, right, essentially, right? And at midnight, they flicked midnight 30, something like that. They flicked the lights, right? And I was like, oh, okay, time to close time, right? So I go to the bar, and I'm, about to close my tab out, but nobody else is doing it. Literally nobody else. Right, I'm like, and I asked the bartender, can we still order? He goes, oh yeah. I go, okay, no, next round. I bought the next round, right? Okay, they did it again at 1:30. So then I'm like, all right, this is kind of weird, but everyone's going strong, no problem. Right? I'm like, okay, I'll just, I'm not gonna be like, whatever. It was a bar club, right?
You literally didn't know.
I literally didn't. So then at 1:30 they flicked the lights. I'm like, oh shit, it's 1:30. Maybe they want to stop now because it's a Saturday or whatever, right? I was like, okay, no. Right? Again, nothing. And this time they turned the light on, right? And I was like, what do they keep turning the light on for? And the guy's like, oh, they want you to sit and drink. I'm like, at a club? It was just sitting and drinking.
It's a reminder.
Yeah, it's literally a reminder. And then I was like, okay. And then I just didn't know when they were going to close. And then when they turned the lights out for real, and everyone stopped dancing, and the music stopped, then I was like, oh.
And when was that? 3?
3.
Yeah. So
for 3 hours, I was like,
what you're looking forward to this summer is going out.
Yeah.
Yeah, dude. I'm so glad the world's coming back. It's going to be a really fun summer.
Oh, yeah, especially with all these volleyball kids. We'll be out. Yeah. That's a good workout, too.
They're super fun, man. I love that crew. Yeah. Anyway, dude, thank you so much for coming on the podcast.
Yeah, thanks for having me. It was a lot of fun.
Yeah, really, really appreciate your friendship and just learning about things with you and hanging out with you and everyone. It's been awesome.
Yeah. Cool, man.
All right, dude. Have a good end of the night and have a good week.